neither slavery nor involuntary servitude, except as a punishment for crime whereof the parties shall have been duly convicted, shall exist within the United States, or any place subject to their jurisdiction. This was the 13th Amendment to the Constitution, which abolished slavery in the United States of America. There are equal opportunities for all Americans in America. You can join the Army, Marines, Navy, Air Force, and Coast Guard. You can be a doctor in America. You can work at McDonald's. These are some of the few opportunities you have as a working citizen in this country. So now we ask ourselves, what does it mean to be an American in relation to the 13th Amendment? Would life have been different if the 13th Amendment never even got applied?
In giving freedom to the slave, we assure freedom to the free. That's what President Lincoln once wrote. Honorable alike in what we give and what we preserve.
The 13th Amendment was a major achievement for the American people. It was the first out of the 3 Reconstruction Amendments after the Civil War. At the time, the country was still divided into slave and non-slave states. So even though the amendment was passed, there were still slaves and white supremacy. Northern states followed the amendment with ease. They are in the gray. But the same cannot be said for the South, which are in red.
The question of slavery was never simply about civil rights. It was about the meaning of America.
The 13th Amendment was after Lincoln's Emancipation Proclamation. Abraham Lincoln played a big role in abolishing slavery because of both the Emancipation Proclamation and the approving of the 13th Amendment. Once slavery was abolished, not all states complied. This applied mostly to the South, though. Southerners were mad at the fact they had to start paying their workers on their plantations. The way they saw it was that the slaves weren't even humans. This doesn't make it right, though.
And say that in the history of African Americans, we have been subjected to name calling. That's what happens to you when, in the Constitution, you're not a complete human being. That's what happens to you that even after the Emancipation Proclamation and the short-lived Reconstruction, the nation rushed toward the hanging fruit, Jim Crowism, and the rampant murder of African Americans in the Deep South.
Slaves were used on plantations for various tasks. For example, some slaves worked in cotton fields, where they would work rigorous hours tending to the field and clearing land. Some people started to think that it was immoral, so they changed the laws and amendments so that slavery was illegal. This was the 13th Amendment. Now the question was, what did the future of America have to hold for these newly freed slaves? At first, people did not accept them, but over time, African American people became functioning members of society. America would not be what it is today without the 13th Amendment and other various efforts.
The 13th Amendment abolishes slavery. Slavery as a legal institution disappears. It can't happen anywhere in America, therefore there can't be slaves. Well, there are now freed people. What is to be their fate? Is it to be left to the states to decide? Well, yes, because that was the way things had always been done. States were the entities that determined who voted, how often you could vote, who had certain civil privileges, who did not. And so you looked at a situation where suddenly, all right, we've abolished slavery, but who are the freed slaves? Are they citizens? The oops comes in because the Constitution didn't really have a definition of citizenship. The word citizen is mentioned several times in the Constitution, but there's no definition of it.
What does it mean to be an American in relation to the 13th Amendment? Being American means being free of segregation. Being an American means being treated equally no matter your skin color. Being an American is freedom. The 13th Amendment played a vital role in providing these opportunities. The 13th Amendment may have abolished slavery, but we still have to continue it. You can do your part by not judging a person based on their skin color.